the islands from erosion, people built wave breakers. Corals are used as a substitute for expensive stones. This reinforces erosion, a vicious circle. The conviction that everything which happens is God-given destiny is ever present. Islands with freshwater supply may support small-scale gardening and the keeping of some domestic animals. Islanders live in complete dependence of the sea, the tides, and the weather. Climate change is endangering this fragile relationship. The scientists arrive on Saugi Island. In group discussions, they will talk to villagers from various sections of local society to allow a wide range of the village population to express their views. Influential, less influential, and young people meet in their own groups. To assess gender differences, separate focus groups are formed for men and women. For the so-called ice-breaking, everyone meets in a public place, in this case, the school. Afterwards, groups meet several times for discussions. Participatory research methods combine natural and social science with local knowledge. The scientists come to ask about the situation of each island and its marine environment. Questions are: what are the fishing methods? Which are the key species targeted by the islanders? Are there significant changes of the sea and the weather? How did these changes affect people's livelihoods? How do people cope with all this? Visual outputs are prepared together with the villagers. The researchers also walk around the island and ask about the things they see. Sometimes they discover interesting things that the islanders didn't think to be important enough to mention, such as this locally initiated planting of mangrove trees to prevent erosion. It was useful for me. Discussion is sharing. I can understand things that I didn't know before, like the history of the island. You don't know this island or our life here. We can give you information about it. While drawing a timeline for the island, the participants exchange views about how the destruction of the reefs began and at which stage it is today. It becomes clear that many inhabitants acknowledge that present practices, if unchanged, will result in the complete degradation of the reefs. Solutions to stop this trend are urgently needed. The analysis of social ecological systems aims to make clear how to increase the resilience of the reef and of people's ways of living and earning a living. By examining ecological aspects such as coral bleaching, composition of the reef community, algal growth and the spread of animal larvae, biologists investigate the status and vulnerability of the reefs. Since 1990, hard coral cover in the area has decreased by about 5%. Causes are the use of cyanide and explosives for fishing, as well as pollution of the environment.
A coral reef is a diverse assemblage of different animals or different groups of animals that in our case occur in tropical waters and are specialized to a very narrow range of environmental conditions, meaning that they need a temperature of between, say, 20 and 30 degrees per year. They need sufficient sunlight, and they occur in shallow tropical waters. And they're comprised of, for the most part, corals, but also a range of other organisms like sponges, algae are also part of it, crustaceans, fishes, and so on. But the important thing is that the algae, that the corals that constitute a coral reef are building the structures as they go. So it's a living entity that's growing over the years and is forming a barrier, a natural barrier around these islands that we see here. Yeah, so in short, I hope that people will be able to find a balance between people's needs and nature's needs so they can continue to live on these islands as they've been doing for centuries, and they will be able to do so for the future.
Alternatives that are environmentally friendly and that also provide income for those who now depend on bomb or cyanide fishing are needed. Here are some ideas. Sea cucumbers can be cultured in tanks. Seahorses clean the skin of the sea cucumbers. Consumers for both animals are mainly from China. This project is being developed in collaboration between scientists, business people, and local fisherfolk. Fish mariculture is another alternative. Cages at sea are not only a storage place for keeping captured fish, but could also be used for breeding. Work that examines such options is needed in Spermandi. If the marine environment is to be saved, the fish hunters of today will have to become the fish farmers of tomorrow. Cultivation of algae may provide a new income for local women. Furthermore, small-scale tests are planned to produce biofuel from algae. This could be used for cooking and for producing electricity, which is still scarce on the islands. On these iron tables, corals are cultivated. One aim is to restore some of the damaged coral reefs. If this proves successful, erosion of the islands would be reduced. Another initiative to protect the islands from erosion is the planting of mangrove trees. Mangroves can grow in saline water. The roots will stabilize the soil and prevent it from being washed away by the sea. This fake crab may look funny, but it is an efficient lure for octopus. The local people proudly present their innovative bait to the scientists. With its hooks, it holds the octopus, which is trying to catch the fake crab. It yields excellent results. Although the ecological effects of this latest invention are not yet examined, it is certainly more sustainable than bombs or cyanide.
Maybe you can even use the biomass, for example the organic waste, and then mix with if they have a wild algae, for example, or other biomass, and then it can be also used as a biogas, and then the biogas can produce either a gas for cooking, so they don't need to use the wood, for example, or they don't need to buy an LPG, and they can use this biogas, or it can be converted to the electricity as they need it.
Social ecological research opens wide opportunities for the population in their relation to nature. The project shown here is one of only a few to consider the everyday realities of local people. The new knowledge created should help islanders and policymakers to make decisions that are better for nature and society. It has a good chance to help set the course for a better future.